Hello. Today I wanted to speak to you about a very important topic. I think that so many of us are waiting, right? We wait for a lot of things in the future that may or may not come. So I want to redefine a few things. And I want you to ask yourself, first of all, in this moment, are you waiting for health? Kind of like, are you waiting to live? Like we spend our entire lives waiting to actually live. Well, I'd like to maybe focus this on the corner of health. So, wanted to start with a few thoughts that I had. So, first of all, you know, when you're embarking on a journey to find optimal health, it really involves more than physical changes. It requires kind of the holistic approach that really encompasses not only your body, but also your mind. And this is kind of where I come up with the 7 principles of health. Really, it's just kind of a comprehensive kind of framework to guide you kind of on your path. And these principles are designed not only to improve your physical health, but really enhance your mental health, your spiritual health, and just overall well being and quality of life. And they're really rooted in the understanding that our health is influenced by a variety of factors, from the food we consume to the thoughts we really allow to nurture and brew in our mind. So each principle really represents a key aspect of health and well being, encouraging you to kind of explore and develop habits that contribute to a balanced and healthy lifestyle. And then they invite you to kind of delve a little bit deeper into understanding how your daily choices, your mindset, and your action can really significantly impact your health. And remember, these aren't rigid rules, but they're kind of just flexible guidelines that can kind of be adapted to fit your individual needs and your circumstances. So as we progress through each of the principles, I really want you to think about how these insights can help you nurture your body, your mind, and spirit, and really kind of keep things in harmony. And then whether it's recognizing the potential within you to achieve optimal health, understanding the give and take of relationship between the body and the environment, or aligning your lifestyle with your inner purpose, they really offer kind of a roadmap for a healthier, more fulfilling life. Okay, so remember, your journey to health is different and unique for each of you, right? It's just, these are just meant to be stepping stones. They're not, again, hard, rigid rules. But it's just to help you maybe make mindful and kind of informed decisions about your health. And so here's the 7 principles that I think would be helpful. Number 1, a principle of inherent health potential. So really, what does that mean? Well, what does that look like? What's the action step? So you really want to embrace the belief that your body has an innate potential for vitality and wellness. You can spend time in nature, practice silence, meditate, and connect with your body's natural state of health. I've talked about beliefs in past lives. So when we focus on identifying with the current disease or state of health, it inhibits us from growth and moving in a direction to find health. There's always friction when we are told that, let's say, for example, actually, I like this story. Carol Dweck in her growth mindset book. Now, I might get the exact verbiage a little bit wrong here, but the overall arching aspect of that book that really stuck with me, you've read something and it just kind of holds onto your heart. There's a story about this little boy that was in their study, and they had divided 2 groups. So they had a group that had interventions to have a growth mindset, and then the control group where they just taught study skills. So each group got the study skills. This is how you study. This is how you can study and, get A's on your classes and look through and comprehend different things, yada, yada. Basic study skills that every child should be told. However, the interventional group really spoke to the growth mindset and set your child down and said, here's what your potential could be. And one remark that she highlighted from a 4th grader, a little boy, said, "You mean I don't have to be stupid anymore?" So let that sink in for a moment. What in that child's environment led them to believe or strike out that they had no potential at the age of 9 or 10 to strive for success because they already believed that they were stupid? So I would like you to translate this to yourself or someone else that maybe they have made such a strong belief and identified themselves as unhealthy, someone who's anxious, someone who has, is a diabetic, or they're hypertensive, or they are this or that. And excuses can be manyfold. Their family was always like that. Well, their past made them like this. They can't do this for whatever reason. There's always some external excuse because we've identified and we believe that we are that particular condition. So we can start that change in belief and shift when we change our language, right? How do we describe ourselves? And who are you really? So just sitting back and saying, instead of saying, I am diabetic, or I am hypertensive, I am anxiety, or I am always anxious, maybe you say, I have a condition, my life circumstances is currently that I have type 2 diabetes, or currently I have, hypertension. Now, there may be circumstances that absolutely are going to be lifelong, as for example, someone with type 1 diabetes. But we don't know. Maybe in the future there will be an opportunity to also solve that issue. But at the moment, let's just say I am someone with type 1 diabetes, right? Or I am someone who deals with anxiety. And that allows you to have space and the opportunity to change because you're not now attacking yourself that you've identified with that condition. I hope that makes sense. But this gets back to really, you do have inherent health potential. All right, number 2 is really the principle of balanced exchange, right? So the action step here is your health is really a balance of giving and receiving, right? So you nourish your body with healthy foods and water and exercise, but you also allow yourself to receive, right? Receive rest and relaxation. There is this yin and yang occurring. So remember, you also give back to your health by maintaining a positive attitude and then really practicing gratitude. Because when you practice the gratitude of where you are currently in your health journey, or any journey for that matter, it brings you to the present moment because the future is the future. We can make up stories because that really is about what we could be worried about in the future, the what ifs. But all that does is take energy and attention and cause more stress and anxiety because it's uncertainty. When we embrace the uncertainty and understand the only thing we have now is now, the past is the past. It may offer lessons. I think the best way to have a relationship with the past is only be looking at it and how it can help you in the current state or your future in the current moment. Like, what are the lessons that I can learn from this past? How am I processing it? Those type of things. But again, this is a balanced exchange. You have the yin and the yang. So you exercise, you feed yourself nourishment, but you also allow yourself rest and space mentally to walk away from or shut down the internal chatter that's occurring. And you do that by being present, mindful. All right, next, principle of consequence and choice. This is just the law of the land. So understanding that every decision really impacts your health. Now, so you want to think about choosing activities and foods that benefit your mind and your body. Be mindful of how your daily habits, from what you eat, how much you move, what thoughts you allow to dwell in your mind, really affect your mental, spiritual, and physical self. It's so very important to understand that you will get out what you put in. That is just the consequence of choice. So again, there's the yin and the yang. I think the one thing that can be outside of that is loving yourself. I think if you identify yourself as something separate, but a really deep love just for your being that you are, that there is no yin or yang to that. That's just all good. Next is principle of effortless action. So what does that mean? The action step is basically focus on small and manageable changes that can be easily integrated into your lifestyle. We want to avoid extremes because these will burn you out very quickly. You really want to find joy in activities that promote your health. So basically you want to practice acceptance and let go of the struggle of your journey to wellness, right? So we want to just make it happen right now. But I think we need to really curate patience with ourselves and do habits daily that stack up on each other and over time can have a greater impact on your overall mental, physical, and spiritual health. So, small actions. So, this could be, let's see here. I have a perfect story. So, I had a patient who we were talking about. I can't remember. I think she was high cholesterol. She was wanting to lose weight. She had certain health goals. And the big thing was just getting her to start with movement. And she was feeling overwhelmed at the thought. She thought, I had to spend an hour every day and go to the gym. I was like, no, let's talk about the small exercise moments, little snacks, right? They're these little tidbits throughout the day that you can do. And I was like, well, let's start with something manageable and small. So I was like, what are you doing every single day that you can rely on? It doesn't matter where you are or where you're going, that you must have in your day-to-day routine. And, my mind thinks about brushing your teeth, different things. She goes, well, I always have to have my morning cup of coffee. I'm like, great. What do you do when your coffee is brewing? Well, she goes, I sit there and wait. And she might be shuffling around the kitchen. I was like, well, can you do a couple of push-ups against the counter? She goes, okay. And I was like, all right, so let's do that. And so she went ahead and started doing a couple of push-ups against the counter. And a few months had passed, and I knew she was doing those and she was doing great. I didn't actively engage in finding out how she was going, but she brought it up in one of the appointments. She goes, Dr. Marvis, you haven't asked me about my push-ups. I'm like, well, tell me about your push-ups. She goes, I'm doing 60 at a time now. So she goes, and look at these guns. So I'm like, this is amazing, right? So this is so much fun to see how someone incorporated this small actionable step right into their day. And then it was effortless in the beginning, and then it had a huge impact. So she was much stronger. Now, if she'd have tried to do 60 all at once in the very beginning, she'd have basically struggled and probably gave up. It doesn't mean she couldn't, but it's so much easier when you start small because your brain's like, hey, I can do that. That's easy. Of course I can do that. It builds confidence. It also helps you build that habit. You're anchoring it to some type of activity that you're already doing throughout the day. This is basically you are being the conductor of your own health, right? Another great story about this is when I had a patient. This was even before, this has been probably 10 or 11 years ago now. And I was talking to a patient who had type 2 diabetes, and we were trying to, again, incorporate exercise. And she was like, Dr. Marvis, I'm just too tired. There's no way I can do this. And so I was really trying to think of ways for her to do this. And she goes, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I said, well, when is this something in your day that you're always doing and you're outside? She goes, well, when I drive home in the car, I go, into my house, or I leave my house and I go to the car to go to work. And I was like, okay, so when you come home at the end of the day, you park your car, you open the door, can you walk to the end of the driveway and back? She's like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm absolutely serious. So she said, okay. I was like, do you pinky promise to do that? And she's like, okay. So we literally pinky promised. We pinky promised for her to walk to the end of her driveway and back every day. And I will tell you guys, over the course of several months, she decided as she got to the end of the driveway one day, this is ridiculous. I'm going to go around the whole block. So she went around the whole block. And before you knew it, she was walking 2 to 3 miles a day. She had embraced a whole food plant-based diet and lost 60 pounds. And it started with allowing herself to know that she could do this small act and have belief that it would impact. And it did, because it started snowballing. So that is the principle, again, of really just understanding, make it this as an effortless as possible. All right. The next principle is a focused intent, right? So you really want to clarify what you want for your health, right? Not just, I wouldn't say, I want a certain number, or I want a certain number of ab muscles popping through. We really want to think more about specific goals that are aligned with values. Maybe it's, have the energy to hike a mountain to be with your family. Maybe, I had one patient mention to me She goes, I want to lose enough weight that I can sit on an airplane and fly overseas to a European country to visit my family without using the belt extensor. Wow, that was a very emotional and value driven, because she valued her independence in feeling comfortable in her skin. And that was what I'm talking about. That's the goal we should be looking for. So anyway, these should be specific, achievable. Again, it could be about losing weight and building strength, but what does that rely, like, why would you want those things? Continue to ask yourself why. And maybe it's improving mental health. Maybe it's meditation and mindfulness. When you start thinking about your spiritual and mental health, it affects everything. So it'll also help your physical health. You can use a few different things. You can use visualization and affirmations to keep intentions clear. I would encourage you also to maybe write this in a journal, just to help you remain accountable to yourself and what you're doing. And again, the goals can always change. Your journey can change. I know I've certainly had changing goals and aspirations as my life progresses, and I'm looking at what's important to me and living purpose, and what is my purpose, right? What is my purpose in doing this? So, um, yeah, when I sit back and look at my different decisions on what my goals are, I'm going, what is my purpose of this goal? What would be the benefit, and what are the potential outcomes? What am I trying to achieve? Am I just trying to feel better because I've reached a certain goal weight, or am I actually looking to move in the direction of a value that's so important to me? And I hope that makes sense. Next, it's really about principle of openness and acceptance, right? So while it's important to set goals, be open to your journey and the outcomes. We really need to understand, we need to detach from whatever outcome, because your path to health really might have some unexpected turns, and that's all okay. We could have a general goal, but if we don't reach that particular goal in a particular time, again, detaching yourself from the outcome will alleviate any stress related to looking and striving to achieve it. So instead of like, you're going to fail if you don't reach it at this particular time, it's like, this is my goal, is to lose weight, get around, let's say, one, if you, whatever that number is for you. And you can set it out in the future, but then what you do is just sit back and go, okay, what is the first thing I can do right now today that will start leading me in that direction? And again, trying to get outside of the number is important. Now, the number might be important in the sense of you hit a certain weight-ish, because that'll help diabetes improve, it'll help hypertension improve, it'll help all sorts of things health-wise. But the more important thing is understanding you have to start your journey. And again, things might be navigating funky for you for a second, but that's okay. It's just part of the journey. When you conceive a problem, instead of looking at it and stressing about it, maybe look at it and go, what can I learn about this opportunity? And then it doesn't become a problem anymore. It becomes a teaching, right? It becomes a lesson that you can take under the fold, put in your heart, and move on. Again, just some thoughts there. And then I think finally, the principle of purposeful living, right? So you really want to think about discovering what activities make you feel vibrant and alive, that really nourish you physically, mentally, spiritually. For me, this is going for a morning walk every single day. Even when I was in Boston with my daughter and it was cold, I went out, I felt alive, I felt present. I always have my most creative moments. I feel like I come up with ideas for you guys here. It's really important to find what that is for you, and it'll be different for everybody. Now, this could be, again, it could be through sports, dance, yoga, hiking, meditation. Identify what brings you joy and a sense of purpose. And then align your lifestyle with these activities to achieve your most fulfilling and holistic sense of well-being. So really, at the end of the day, when you incorporate these principles into your daily life, you actively embark on your journey to better health and overall well-being. It really transforms your waiting into meaningful action. And I don't ever want to live my life waiting to start living. For me, that's a really important value. as I don't want to be caught waiting. I just always want to be caught living. And then, okay, whenever it happens in life, it happens and I'm good with it. So I hope that was helpful. Like I said before, I want to end each of these lives with sending you a gift. And my gift for you is I am wishing you love, peace, and joy today and always, but particularly today. So I hope you receive it, that yin and yang, and I will be most appreciative. So thanks everyone for listening. I hope this was helpful. Please comment below, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know what to do. And have a blessed day, everyone.